There's something eerily dazzling about the music industry's glow, isn't there? So flawless, so immaculately staged, it practically screams, "Nothing to see here," until you squint past the blinding polish and start spotting the fractures peeking through the facade. For all its sparkling glam, this world hides more shadows than a Hitchcock film set. And if you listen closely, those shadows don't just whisper, they hiss. Numbers. Oh yes, the holy gospel of the industry. Streams, trophies, fat record deals, they look so concrete, so measurable, so real. But the glittering road to those figures, that's where the fog rolls in. Quiet backroom handshakes, favors whispered through gritted smiles. Welcome to the industry's unofficial rulebook. In this twisted chessboard, loyalty isn't virtue, it's currency. And complicity, just a savvy little move in someone's 5-year strategy plan, and square in the middle of all this artfully veiled chaos? Rihanna. Not just a pop star, she's a billion-dollar brand, a walking revolution, a beauty mogul, a mom, and someone who clearly doesn't feel the need to play by your PR scripts. Lately, though, her silence has been deafening. And you know it's bad when people start reading into what you don't say more than what you do. So naturally, whispers have started turning into questions. What exactly is Rihanna keeping under wraps? Because let's be honest, something's off. The once mighty trio, Rihanna, Beyoncé, and Jay-Z, now seem more like celestial bodies on divergent paths than music royalty sharing the same solar system. And Rihanna, she's got her own orbit entirely, thank you very much. Fans have been waiting since forever for a Rihanna-Beyoncé collab, the kind of thing that should have been inevitable. Spoiler alert, it never happened. Not even a teaser, not a whiff. And when something that obvious doesn't materialize, fans notice. They don't just notice, they investigate. And what they find isn't always the stuff of coincidence. Like, say, Rihanna parting ways with Roc Nation, Jay-Z's gilded empire of power moves. Strange? Suspicious? Or just business? Depends who you ask. She built Fenty from the ground up, not with industry crumbs or cosigns, but with the kind of quiet ferocity that says, "Watch me." She didn't just walk away from the empire, she turned her back on it like it was yesterday's fashion. An empire most artists would sell their souls, or at least their publishing rights, to be a part of. And she did it without fanfare, without drama, just that calm, unnerving certainty of someone who's seen something. Something that makes staying not just unappealing, but unthinkable. And then came that moment. A reporter tossed out a question about Diddy's infamous parties. Those ultra-exclusive soirees whispered about in hushed tones like urban legends with legal disclaimers. Rihanna's response? Not a speech, not even a sound. Just the faintest smirk. Subtle, effortless, devastating. A Mona Lisa expression for the 21st century scandal cycle. And in that flicker of a smile, something unsettling. Like someone who's walked away from the blaze without ever needing to explain the burn marks. Fast forward to now, lawsuits raining down on Diddy like karma finally remembered his address. Pages and pages of horrific accusations that have turned those parties into something far darker. Less celebration, more orchestration, manipulation, coercion, control, power games dressed up in designer labels and champagne flutes. What we're looking at isn't a lifestyle, it's a culture. One built on blurred boundaries and buried truths. And Rihanna? She didn't just dip, she escaped. Some say it wasn't rebellion, it was survival. That she saw the cracks in the castle long before the walls started crumbling. That she smelled the rot while the rest were still toasting success. And maybe, just maybe, she's been holding something in all this time. And maybe she's still weighing whether to say it out loud or let it echo in silence. Because silence, in her case, screams. It's impossible not to look at her and Beyoncé now and feel the frost. On the surface, it's all respect and woman empowerment optics. But beneath, there's a chill, an unmistakable tension that no Grammy photo op can quite thaw. The award show side-eyes, the strategic silences, the collaborations that never were. It doesn't feel like coincidence. It feels like code. So Rihanna hit like on a post hinting that the Grammys had a soft spot for Beyoncé's Lemonade while snubbing her own anti, a move that sent fans spiraling. She later brushed it off with a laugh, the kind that says, "I said what I said, but make it cute." Was it petty? Maybe. Or maybe it was the kind of truth you dress up in sarcasm when you're too savvy to start a war, but still too real to stay silent. And then there's Jay-Z, the man who plucked Rihanna out of obscurity and kickstarted her rise, back when the industry still pretended to take risks. But that once golden bond, it's got the warmth of a corporate NDA now. Something's changed, something colder, murkier, far less trustworthy. Cue voices like Jaguar Wright, a whistleblower with receipts, calling out the Carters and their alleged links to Diddy's increasingly exposed world. Her interviews didn't just get ignored, they got erased. Not once, but multiple times. Like someone really, really didn't want those words hanging around long enough to catch fire. And suddenly, the Carters' airbrushed, crystal clear image, it starts to look more like strategic camouflage than authenticity. Every pristine press shot, every robotic red carpet smile, every carefully curated candid starts to feel like part of a broader damage control campaign. Even whispers about Kathy White's death resurface, the former publicist reportedly connected to Jay-Z, who died under bizarre circumstances in 2011. Officially an accident, but the timing, the rumors, they refuse to die quietly. Especially now, as Diddy's empire crumbles in real time under a landslide of lawsuits, dragging with it anyone who stood too close for too long. Executives, collaborators, co-signers, and yes, even music's royal couple. While the industry scrambles, wiping archives, tightening NDAs, and speed-dialing crisis PR teams, Rihanna, she's unbothered. Not hiding, not deleting, just gliding above the chaos, untouched, because her legacy wasn't built on someone else's scaffolding. She didn't just walk away from the system, she saw it for what it was and chose her soul over survival mode. And in a world full of carefully constructed illusions, that kind of clarity is the rarest flex of all. Even Bow Down, Beyoncé's once celebrated empowerment anthem, hits differently these days. Sure, it was framed as a power move, a feminist roar, but listen again and it starts to feel more like a veiled threat, a warning dressed in couture. Because here's the thing, Rihanna never bowed. Not to Beyoncé, not to Jay-Z, not to the system. And now, that silence of hers, it doesn't read passive. It reads like precision, like a woman who's not retreating, but calculating. Every beat of distance, every non-collaboration, every cool-eyed exit, from Roc Nation to the whole damn status quo, wasn't just a coincidence. It was a chess move. And she's still playing, because make no mistake, Rihanna isn't done. She's watching, waiting, curating her next strike. And when she moves, if she moves, it won't be a soft whisper or a slick Instagram caption. It'll be seismic. She's not beholden to any machine, label, or legacy. She's got nothing to lose and everything to say. A documentary, a song, a memoir dripping with quiet detonations. Whatever shape it takes, her truth won't just ruffle feathers. It could blow the roof off an industry built on silence and spin. If Rihanna confirms even a sliver of what's been speculated, the Carter-Diddy axis won't just wobble, it could collapse. And the fallout won't be limited to a few celebrity reputations. It'll force a reckoning with the entire machinery that let it all thrive unchecked for decades. Because here's the terrifying truth. We still haven't heard all the names. There are powerful figures hiding behind airtight NDAs and curated personas, still trying to steer the narrative like we're all too distracted to notice. But the truth? It leaks. First in drips, then in floods. And as the curtain starts to tear, we're being pushed to face an ugly question. What if the artists we danced to, the icons we praised, were complicit in something deeply rotten? What if the beat we loved was keeping time with a cover-up?